Hey cronies!
Welcome back to our channel!
Correct!
It's been a while guys that we haven't filmed because we were so busy after our vacation and yeah, there's so much going on. Anyways, in this vlog, as you can see in the title, we're gonna be talking about the requirements of how to enter Singapore from the Philippines as a Filipina and him as a foreigner. It doesn't even matter. And also our whole cost of this trip.
Yeah.
And mind you guys, this is just a 5 days trip vacation.
Correct, yeah.
So we will say about the hotel, the flights, and the daily expenses.
Yeah. And we will talk about the experience we made and what we observed there. So I think for everyone who wants to go abroad or wants to visit Singapore, it could be interesting.
Yeah.
First of all, we need to say we had 5 days there, staying there, 5 whole days. Hello, Apollo. You want to say hi? But the last day, it was after our Singapore trip, and it was raining so strong on that day that we decided to stay in the hotel till evening because our flight goes back in the evening.
Yeah.
So we spent 1 day and 1 night in Manila, but we didn't vlog it because it was not so interesting being in a hotel, so there was nothing we can show you.
The cost. So I have here guys my phone again because we write down our everyday cost. So first day is we spend a lot of money. I even forget already. First day was 10,746 and we will put the dollar right here guys.
Yeah.
And then day 2 was the cheapest day in the entire trip. That was only 2,504. Day 3 was 9,874. And day 4 was 10,965. Day 5, 5,569. And now comes
The whole...
no.
First the flights.
Yeah, the hotel for was it 5 nights?
Yeah.
So I made a wrong mistake guys, but we will not say it here because it's a very long story. Anyways, we learned a lot from it, but the hotel, we paid around 29,444 pesos, okay? And this one guys is 5 nights.
Yeah.
6 days, 5 nights. And then for the flights, 34,250. So I didn't even think that flights is more expensive than the hotel.
Yeah, okay, you guys need to know that we was flying from Bohol, so we need to fly from Bohol to Manila and then from Manila to Singapore, so we need to have 4 flights. And it's the whole amount for 2 persons as well. Yeah, and then let them know how much we paid in total for 5 days vacation.
So guys, I think after pandemic, it was a very big mistake that we made a vacation right after pandemic because everything is so expensive, guys. Unbelievable. So the whole total is 103,353 pesos. Oh my god. And in US dollar, that is around 2,000 or 19.
Now you can see it here now.
Oh my god.
That was expensive vacation, but even we had so much rain, and you guys can see it in the playlist. We will let you know the playlist of our 4 days there. You can see it here in the card, but it was a very funny experience. We had fun. Chami was experiencing Universal Studio.
Yeah.
So what was your best day?
Best day, I think when we visited the dome,
The
flower
domes?
dome or the forest
Cloud Dome.
cloud dome.
Yeah, it was good.
So that was the best thing for me. It was indoor, so it doesn't matter if it rains. Now we're gonna talk about the requirements and should we tell them the story of our travel, like the first day? about your passport, your before.
Yeah, okay, let's go.
So guys, we went before our flight, guys. Okay, we wanted to go in the airport already because I told him we must be in the airport 3 or 4 hours before the flight. Although I prepared everything. So then, guys, when I said to him few minutes before we leave, I said to him, okay, let us go. And then I told him, can you please check again the documents if it's right or not? And then tell them what happened.
I have 2 VHO passes. One very old from my childhood. And
That's the health.
health vaccination proofs. And I have a new one. And the new one is my vaccination, is my certificate for my COVID. So the problem was that when we moved here in this apartment, Chami and her cousins, Chami told me, I will do everything, don't worry, let me do it. And then she was the one who packed everything. Till now we have a misunderstanding about if there was a second one or not. Fact is, Chami was, we have my passport and also my VHO certificate, and then I checked it, I don't know why, I just had it in my mind, and then I realized it's my old one from my childhood, but I bring here as well, and not the new one.
I actually saw the old one, it was the only one I saw.
Yeah.
It was so traumatic for me, guys. It was really, really traumatic, and in that moment, guys, I was thinking that to cancel everything. Flights, hotel, everything.
Apollo, and then everything was disaster already. Chami's mood was
Oh my god, guys. This, mind you guys, this trip was our first ever couple vacation, you know? And then he was sitting there checking the passport. Okay, passport is there, good. And then 2 yellow card. And then a few seconds later, he was like, this is the wrong one. I said, what? What is the wrong one? I said, oh. And then he was like doing this. And then guys, really guys, that was so traumatic because, you know, we paid already so much money from the flights and hotels. And then, few minutes before we leave going to the airport, we found out that he doesn't have this yellow COVID pass, you know, WHO pass.
And before the people now start talking like, no, it's not needed anymore, it's not necessary anymore. When we was in Manila, because the good thing is I had my iPhone, and in my iPhone I had a digital certificate as well. So I was double safe. And they asked us. So to say that no, it's not needed anymore, it's not 100% right, because when we was in Manila, we wanted to take our flight to Singapore. When we was boarding and we would get our boarding passes, they asked us for our vaccination. So it was necessary to take the flight. I don't know what they would say when we don't have it, but luckily we had it because they asked us. What is the requirements? The requirements is as of what it's what we know. It's the for me it's a passport and certificate of vaccination.
And you had this EU digital certificate
on my phone.
And that means it's okay, guys, when you don't have this yellow thing, you can use this digital code.
Yeah. What I found out after is that you can, as of what I heard, you can also enter Singapore, but it's not 100% a guarantee. But what I heard is that you can also enter the Singapore when you are not vaccinated, but then you have to make a COVID test, and you need to test you again after 5 days. There is and you need to show it. That's what I hear.
So guys, in Singapore, because my TikTok follower has been asking me about this. As a Filipina, when you want to go vacation in Singapore, you must have the passport at least 6 months before it will expire. And then the yellow card, I have to bring it with me, and they actually checked it. And third one was clarification, guys. For example, you have Johnson and Johnson, you only need 1 dose, and they don't need for booster. No need for booster as long you take the recommended dose of the vaccination. You will see the screenshot, guys, of how much dose you need to enter Singapore. Manila immigration officer is very strict than when you go the actual place you want to have vacation.
Why you say always immigration officer?
Because they're in the immigration. Wait.
It's about when you leave the country. Is it still immigration?
Oh yeah.
Immigration is when you want to enter a country. I don't know how they call it. Maybe you
like
guys can help us. Is it still immigration? Also when you want to leave the country?
No, I feel
Oh,
like
guys, maybe you can help us. But fact is, when we wanted to leave the country, you need to go to do 2 different lines. I was Foreigner, so I was going to the gate to this line for Foreigners, and Shami went to the line for national. And that was a little bit funny because for me it was very fast. I was maybe in 2 minutes or maybe 1 minute. They asked me if I want to come back. I said yes, I will just go for vacation with my girlfriend and then I will be back here in the Philippines. And she said okay. And then I left. And then that was a little bit stupid because I wanted to wait for Masawa because there were so many Filipinos in this line. But then there was a man from the security who said to me I have to go further to the security. So I followed what he said and I go to the security and then tell them what happened.
And then, guys, this officer was asking me, who are you gonna be with during this vacation? And I said, with my boyfriend. And guys, I think they were able to check in my travel history that I was in different countries with my ex-husband. And then I think that's why they are a little bit strict because I said his name and they maybe check the system that it's another man, you know.
Can
so
be,
yeah, because they said she said, have you been to different countries? And then I said, yeah, I've been to 13 countries. And then they said, okay, I see. And who are you gonna be with? I said, my boyfriend, and Andre. And then they said, how long you been together? And then I said, yeah, nearly 2 years, And then they said, if he is your boyfriend, why he leave you?
So when I was on waiting,
and I was actually shaking shots. I said, oh my god. And then I said, I'm sorry, ma'am, because we are new. This is our first travel, and I forgot to tell him that he has to wait me. Just in any case, I needed him. And then he said, okay.
yeah, and then it's so funny because lately I told you that there was a man from the security because I was about to wait for Chami, but the man from the security, he pushed me to go to make the check-in because he said I'm not allowed to stay here or to wait. And then when she was doing her check, then they was complaining that I was not waiting for her, so it was really confusing.
And also, guys, you have to prepare because they're gonna ask proof of relationship, and then I showed them the pictures from both of us. And for those of you who are asking if you need the CFO, in my case, since I've traveled already many countries, no, they didn't ask. But if you are under 21 or 23 and it's your first travel, then you need CFO because with CFO, they will not ask you many questions that might cause for them to offload you. Yeah. That was my experience before, but now
We forgot one important inquiry. Charmy needs to pay travel tax.
Yeah.
And you needed to show it, right?
Yes, in Manila, when you go in any other Asian countries or European countries, Filipino nationals or Philippine passport holders need to pay travel tax, which cost 1,620 only.
Yeah.
And that's a must. So before you're gonna go to the check-in, you have to go pay travel tax.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. They also ask what is my source of income, and then luckily now we are full-time influencer, and I told her we are influencer, and then I needed to show a proof as well that we are really influencers. So I've showed them our
TikTok on YouTube.
two TikTok accounts, which you will see here as well if you are interested, and our YouTube channel. And then they ask how much income we have in a month approx, and then I've said them. So guys, if you are not if you are not an influencer, be prepared to have a proof how much income you have. Although they did not ask me the bank statements, so luckily.
Yeah, the best thing I think is when you wanna go there and you have income or savings, better you make you go to the bank and you make a copy from your account with the amount you have. For an example, when you're going to Singapore for 5 days, and then lately we told you how much it costs at the moment, so that you have $1,000 or something on your savings, so they know that you are able to to provide all your needs the 5 days there, because they also ask you how long you will stay there, right? Yeah, that was the requirements, right?
Yeah, that was the requirements. Actually, it's not much, guys.
So the immigration was quite easy.
And guys, also do not forget to sign up online appointment. So we will put this website, guys, where I followed everything as a Filipina in the description box. So click that one, and then it shows everything what you need. So for this online appointment, this is what they call Singapore ICV, I think, something like that. So you must fill it up 3 days before your flight. When you are in Singapore and you want to enter Philippines again, you must also fill up this health declaration.
So let us make a little summary. What we need is passports. In our cases, we need it when we want to leave Manila, flying to Singapore. They ask us for our vaccination status. What we needed was the QR code for entering entering Singapore.
Yeah. Then hotel booking, because they're gonna check that as well.
Yeah, hotel booking.
And back and forth flight ticket.
And as a Filipina, Charmy needed to prove that she is able to provide her needs in Singapore, so she needs to show up any proof of income. That are the 6 things you guys need to have when you want to go to Singapore at the moment.
Yeah, and then going back from Singapore to Manila, you only need this health declaration.
Correct.
Yeah. That's all. Actually, it's not so hard, but we just make it harder.
That was the requirements, and now we want to tell you a little bit about our experience in Singapore. And let us know in the comments if you guys maybe made the same experience, because starting with our experience we was a little bit shocked. When I came, for example, when I'm here in the Philippines and I go to a restaurant, or I go to sitting in the tricycle or do daily stuff, the people in the service area, kind, a little bit smiling, friendly. And when we was in Singapore,
we don't see any of that, guys. I'm so sorry. I think in the entire 5 days, there's only 2.
Yeah,
the police officer
guy,
and
there was the one woman in the the one woman in the train information, she helped us to find. There was maybe two or three persons.
2 or 3 only.
Yeah, who was really smiling, and even the persons who gave us food, they were so
mean, and it's
no
like
mean. I cannot say it, but they was so cold.
they're cold and it's like they don't care about you, okay?
Yeah.
They only, I don't know, it's like for me it's like a culture shock.
Yeah,
Because-
for me as well, because especially in Germany when you are there and
Yeah.
you're going on a service,
They're
things,
so nice.
they are nice and they
Hello,
yeah,
like that. Here,
nothing.
nothing. What do you want?
The
Okay. Here's your food.
yeah.
It's like that, you know.
We're starting our adventure being in the airport in Singapore.
And directly.
There was a woman and we asked her because we wanted to go with train or bus and we arrived there in the midnight. And then we were searching train, we were searching bus, we didn't saw any solution. And then we going to an information. There was airport information. We was not going to anyone, we was going to the person. She should help us. And then she was busy with her phone. And then we go there and then I say, excuse me ma'am, and she look at me, yes. And I said, we are searching the train, or can you help us? Where's the train? And then she said like this, looking at me, no train anymore. And while talking to me or while giving me the answer was like, go down to the phone back, and then
there's
I say,
no train anymore.
yeah, and then we say, okay, and how we can leave this? And then while watching the phone, you need to take the taxi. There's a station. We was thinking like, okay, it's midnight. Maybe she is tired from working, had a bad day.
Yeah.
We are going down to the taxi driver, and then say, Apollo. He said to us, we going there. We staying in the line. There comes the taxi driver. He doesn't say hello, he was not smiling, nothing. We going to him and he said only cash and ignore us.
Yeah.
Winking,
And then
making this for other. And I said, we have cash. And then he doesn't listen to us because he was talking already to the other ones. And then I said, excuse me, we have cash. Oh, okay, yeah, okay, where you want to go? And then Shami showed the...
But no, it was so hard also, guys, with the way they speak English. It's so hard to understand. Like, where are you gonna go? Which hotel? Sorry? Which one? Yeah, something I cannot understand, you know.
Yeah, okay, but this is not the problem. I mean, I have also different accent.
but the way he said it was really like lifeless, you know. It's not so polite. It's not so kind. And like here in my country, you know, we're kind in general.
But this is something I experienced the whole 5 days.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
I don't know why. I was asking myself sometimes if it has something to do with us. But then I was start observing other people if they act different. But no, it doesn't matter. And then there was also times we was in the food restaurant and there was no smile.
There's no smile at all. Like there's no absolute customer service. It's like they don't know these words.
Yeah, there was one funny moment. We was in the second day. You guys can see here the card of it. There was a really rainy day. We had nothing to do, so we decided to go in the mall. And then we was in the mall, and there was a nice inside pool, it was like a pool, and with fontaines, and around this there was tables from a cafe, and we was thinking about to eat something or to have a coffee. So Chami was searching the card and she was going to the waiter, and it was so funny because this guy was looking in this direction and we came from behind, and then Shami said to him, excuse me sir, can we see the card? And we just do this and make this. He even doesn't watch you, you know.
So this is the absolute 100% true definition of culture shock.
I'm interested, let us know in the comments if maybe we we had just a bad week because it's rainy season, or I got Apollo.
Apollo, come here.
Come here.
That's
That was one of our first experience. Yeah.
And guys, if you would really ask us how many days should we take for vacation in Singapore, I was not thinking that Singapore is very small. 4 to 5 days is enough.
Yeah, if you wanna see really everything, but then you was really, that's my opinion, then you was really saw the entire city, I would say 1 week.
Yeah, 1 week is
And-
the maximum.
Yeah, and you need to know we had a rainy season, so there was a lot of things we was not able to do.
There
But
was a lot of tourist spots that are closed as well.
Correct,
due to renovation after the pandemic, so it was quite
yeah,
sad.
flying back from Singapore to Manila overnight, and then we had 1 day staying in Manila. And there was also a funny situation because we enter Manila at 5 in the morning,
Yeah.
and then after immigration and going out, that was like 6 a.m. So, and our flight back was on the next day, right? Morning.
We didn't even realize.
Yeah, so we had 24 hours staying in Manila. So we decided to go to the Mall of Asia, and then we asked the taxi driver to drive us there, and then he said yes. So we were sitting in the taxi, and Chami asked him, "Can you turn on the meter?"
Yeah, because we took the meter taxi, you know.
Yeah, the meter taxi, and then he said, "Oh no, we have here a new system in my phone."
Yeah.
And in the phone there was 750 peso.
Directly after a
Yeah.
few seconds driving, and
Yeah.
then I was like, actually, Shats, I was kind of fighting my inner self, you know. Should I say him or not? Otherwise, I will be in a huge trouble again, because I'm a person that, when it comes to money, I'm very wise.
Yeah. And then Chami start having a conversation, and I was sitting in the back seat, so I hear already that the conversation starts getting a little bit
Hot.
hot. So I asked him, I said, what they are talking there, and then I saw the man turning on the meter like this, and guys, it was 750 first, and then arriving at the Mall of Asia, it was 264.
Yeah, because the first few minutes he was driving, guys, I was asking why the meter is not on. This is the reason why we took the meter taxi, to avoid scamming us, you know. So he was like, oh, this is the minimum or max fare, you know, from the airport to MOA. And then I was like, oh, it must be very far because, you know, it's 750. That's a lot of money. And then he was like, but can you please turn on the meter, because we took the meter. And then he was like, no, it's okay, this is what you normally pay. And I said, no, just turn on the meter. And then he turned on the meter, and then ended up only 250. And then, guys, actually before we took him, he was so nice, you know. I can see,
Very kind person. Yeah.
very kind person, very welcoming. And I was like, oh, okay, this man is a very good man, and I want to give him big tip, you know. And then
that's what I always say, because on because on the drive back from Moa to our hotel for staying overnight, there was a man. Yeah, we was driving also to back to the airport, because we had our hotel directly at the airport. So it was the same distance, and we paid 150.
Yeah.
150. Yeah, I gave him a lot of tip, and he was very happy for it, because I always say, when persons are nice to me and they are not trying to trick me, I give tip for him. Okay, but the first guy, it was so obvious that he's trying to trick us. And the funny thing is, we needed to go to a station, in the station he write down a paper,
Yeah.
and it was two papers, you know,
Yeah.
a red,
One-
white one and the blue one, and he say to us, the white one you give to the taxi driver, and the blue one is for you as a proof.
And then he took
Booze,
booze.
right?
And then I was actually thinking, okay, this is not a good sign.
Because he, even Chami asked him, he took booze papers from us, so when we are scammed from him, we have no proof, you know. So this guy was really knowing how to.
He was really not wise in this case, because I was actually thinking, okay, if this guy will not start using us or tricking us, I would give him 500, you know.
Yeah, we wanted to really, because he was.
Because we are a type of person, guys, that if you are genuine to us, we will like give you a word in a way, like give you something because we appreciate you, and then you ended up.
And this is the
using
problem
us,
now for
and
him, because his eyes was very big. He saw me as a foreigner, so he wanted to have 750 for maybe 5 kilometers drive. It was not far. We
It
there
was
in 10 minutes.
10 minutes drive.
Yeah, he
Imagine.
wanted to have 750. What is actually more than in Germany for driving a taxi, okay? Because a lot of people always say, oh, they are poor people, you need to have understanding and be more nice to them. No, when someone is charging me here in the Philippines more than I would pay in Germany for the same drive, that has nothing to do with being nice, it is scamming.
Yeah,
okay?
excusing.
And I always say, just imagine you are a Filipino in Germany and you would trying to take a taxi, and the guy see that you are foreigner, and then he start milking you. You would also not appreciate it and be
exactly.
nice.
You know, just be fair, guys.
Yeah.
We understand you need money, but also please understand the customers.
Yeah. And this is what
Not all customers are stingy, and actually customers will only base on how you show them over. Not all are nice, but at least most.
And this is what I say, he had a little bit too big eyes, because he wanted to have 750. But if he would give us a fair trade,
and just be nice, you know?
and it was just 260, he could have 500, because we was about to give him more.
Yeah.
So instead of 500 he could have now, he just got 260, because after we found out that he was scamming us, we was even not giving any tip. If you are when you guys enter Philippines the first time, especially in Manila, as a foreigner, I can really just give you the advice: before you sit in a taxi, ask meter.
Meter, and let them turn on
the meter,
directly before you stay
Correct.
in, because
that's my advice to all foreigners who want to go to Manila.
Yeah, you know, and if they are nice to you, also give them tip.
Good
as
tip.
Good tip as an appreciation.
Yeah. So, for example, the guy who was driving us back. We were staying in Mall of Asia, and Shami asked maybe 5 guys, and they always said, "Oh, meter broken, no meter available." Driving to airport, there is no meter, there is fixed price. And then there was one guy, a very nice, really nice guy. He said, "Oh yeah, meter, no problem." So I think I'd make it double. In Germany, it's very common and normal to give tip also to waitresses when you are in a restaurant. And I don't know, maybe you guys can tell me about other experience, but for me as a German, it's very normal to give tip. But tip you get when you make a good service, because the person appreciates your service. And it's not something you can ask in advance, okay? But like I said, this guy was really charging us the normal fee, the Filipino fee, and then I gave him a good tip. But the other person, he was
well,
750.
Yeah. Anyways, guys.
So now you guys know about how much we paid for the Singapore trip. You know the requirements and our experience. So if ever you guys go to Singapore and you guys have the feeling that the people in the service jobs are not so nice like you experience normally. Now you guys are aware, but let us know if you guys have other experience in this case.
Yeah, let us see if what we think is also same with your experience.
Yeah, that would be
That would be great.
really interesting for us.
Yeah.
We will show you our next vlog after that, and this is a big promise. Our 25k party vlog, and in this vlog
He's gonna try exotic food, and he only knows as of now balut. But I'll be the only one who will buy everything that he has to try. But first, of course, I need to give him diet tubs. Okay, just in any case.
So the next vlog will be
Filipino street food.
the next vlog is Filipino street food for me.
Plus buwan.
Yeah, and we also owe you a new update from our boat that will also happen the next days.
Yeah. We enjoyed every comment, guys. We appreciate and we are so thankful for staying with us and always supporting with us. And we are so curious about what future brings. So if you like this video, guys, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe to our channel for the new upload of videos.
Oh, shut that. It was a little bit...
Yeah, it's like my brain is a little
What time is
slow.
now? We have maybe 10 already, right?
Yeah, 10, and we didn't eat dinner yet, so after this vlog, I have to cook. Shats, I love you.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
Say it in the cam.
As long I show you the actions, that is all that matters. But you guys don't see that, okay? Maybe one day we will have CCTV cameras, you know, so we will upload CCTV footage of how we really are. No? Okay.
Okay.
Anyways, thank you so much, guys, for watching.
And see you next time. Bye
Bye. Again?
What is that?